Hey there everybody, and welcome back to more Sword of Etheria. So last time around, Phil and friends had fought a god and failed. And now it's time to see just what kind of predicament they are all in. So after our fall from grace, we find ourselves deep under Theologia, in what appears to be a very Giger-esque environment, but more importantly, you'll probably notice, well, we are all by our lonesome, so our first objective is going to be to find our missing party members, and we want to do that as quickly as possible because things are super dangerous down here.
Huh? What are those floating things? They don't seem to be enemies.
Yeah, those ghosts are the least of our problems because we got big-ass graboids in the wall. They are, well, they're an interesting trap, mostly because, well, since they obviously don't have eyes, they just kind of bite down on whatever happens to come across their huge gaping maws. And, well, as you can already tell, it's pretty much an instant kill on any enemy that gets caught up in it. This is especially useful to us because...
Well, we killed them already! Did they come back to life?
Yeah, while the ghosts themselves are not going to hurt us, they will go into the bodies of defeated enemies and make them come back in a more enraged and powerful, and I think with more health, and that can be pretty much a huge problem. Especially, well, we're not really used to fighting by ourselves. We haven't really had to do that since Chapter 1, and even then, that was a tutorial, so, well, hopefully you've been able to get down some tricks of the trade in just fighting by yourself, because, well, even though the enemies aren't really anything new or spectacular, now that you're just a solo target, they will definitely gang up on you and beat you down pretty savagely. But as long as you can use the graboids to your advantage, things can get a mite bit easier. Still, something that might not be immediately apparent with this starting area is that there's no real blockages to moving around. Not as of yet. So, if you really wanted to, you could just run straight through here to try to find your first missing party member. Still, there will be some blockages here and there. You see there is a barrier on the far wall there. And you can probably guess how we need to take that down by this very obvious looking orb here. The problem is the enemies are really starting to stack up. So if you are just trying to rush through here, well, you might easily get mobbed. As you can probably tell from the walls, they have set up a lot of opportunities for you to use the graboids in the walls to your advantage. But, well, it's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, the range that I think the wall worms will really grab things is pretty large. It's just usually you have to make sure to juggle an enemy up there, and well, it's at this point I've started to realize I'm running tremendously low on health. And if field goes down, it's over with. But the good news is, it's our first missing party member. So it's good to have Almira back, not only because, well, if we do go down now, at least we won't get an immediate game over, but we can also start juggling normally again, at least to some degree. And it's always nice to have that extra damage going on. But it is interesting to this whole subplot about the Etheria not really going along with Fiel's raw emotions and anger, that they're probably helping him more for a weird sense of justice and right rather than just blind vengeance. It's really good that they make sure to go back over that whole idea that Etheria is sentient, but we are going to have to make our way all the way back to that starting chamber, and as you can imagine, the enemies we left behind just haven't magically despawned.
No, we killed him!
Yeah, also, we get little pieces of dialogue due to Almira now figuring out the horrible nature of this underground palace of tentacles, I suppose. But it is good we found her because I was extremely close to death. And also, you may notice that it's not just the baseline enemies that will get possessed by the ghost. Even that huge sword and shield guy, he too will become resurrected by the tortured spirits.
Here we go! Gone without a trace. Field, stay away from it. You'll be sorry if it gets hold of you.
But there are friends, Almira. Also, there's a good reason why I skipped this chest before, and that's because it's got a handy red orb. Yeah, pretty much this entire level, you're not really going to be getting a whole lot of Etheria. And I think more than anything, getting a good rank on this particular level is just all about speed. So, I will start to incorporate a few additional quote-unquote advanced techniques.
Right away, Field!
And still manage to screw up occasionally. But some of those advanced techniques include canceling while jumping. I think I might have explained it before, but you'll be seeing it a lot more in this level. Pretty much whenever you finish a combo and it ends up leaving you up in the air, while you're up in the air, you can then press jump again, and it will cancel the immobility you have when you're falling, and allow you to do additional attacks while in the air. Normally, I've found that the best thing to do while doing this is to do a downward slash, because while an enemy is in the air, it will be an immediate launcher to Almira. This is especially useful because, as you might recall, the downward swing on a downed enemy that is dazed is also a very good launching technique. Yeah, this highly inappropriate noises whenever Almira gets sucked into one of the graboids, but it's usually in your best interest to not let any of the larger enemies get possessed. Fighting them once is bad enough with just two people, but fighting them a second time powered up, that's even worse.
Almira! Field! Almira! Field! Here we go!
Still, they do give a healthy chunk of Etheria if you get a death blow on them, and stupid me, I totally forgot. Yeah, it's another chest with a red orb, but I think we did well enough in that situation.
The door's open, but wasn't it just closed? It could be a trap. Be careful.
It's the only way to go, so yeah, if you were wondering what was down that other path, it was just a dead end with a few additional enemies that I guess you could farm up some Etheria on, but kind of a waste of time and a waste of health, because, well, you can probably tell from the length of the video, yeah, this level is particularly long, made doubly so by the fact that, well, you might notice that I kind of have less Etheria and probably a lower time on the level, and that's because I managed to die at this point, so I ended up having to start the entire thing over, but instead of scrapping the entire recording. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed and die in any number of these areas, and since there's no, well, spoilers, there's no boss battle on this level, you kind of have to do this entire level with just you and Almira, and, well, needless to say, that is pretty difficult, especially after you've gotten so used to having, you know, a team of three, basically three lives to work with, three helpful team members to work with, and all that. So, yeah, this level is it's a pretty large step up in difficulty, especially all we had to deal with before were some fiery enemies, and if I had to choose between just having a small fiery dot on me or having, you know, just myself to kill enemies with, I think I'd rather have the dot.
I'm here!
Still, I do appreciate the change in level design and the fact that they really took into account the fact that you're probably going to have a little bit of trouble with some larger enemies, and I mean, that's why I really do appreciate the graboid traps on the wall, because, yeah, without those, some of these encounters would be really, really, really tough to deal with. And that's even keeping in mind, I have been managing to grind up Etheria and pretty much max out whatever stats I can. So this is, you know, the normal difficulty with, you know, actual equipment and stats. So I can only imagine how poorly it would be going without those.
Here we go!
And trust me when I say that the first time I went through this level, completely different picture. Was an absolute clusterfuck as I tried so hard to fight every enemy I could on my own, and then tried to fight their possessed forms on my own, and yeah, it did not go well.
Here we go! That's the way!
That's a nice statement to make, Almira. Yeah, doing the downward slash pretty much immediately to knock back a partially dazed enemy. Great simple way to keep working up your links, because, as I stated before, the links are really what causes the tension gauge to fill up as quickly as it can. And pretty much getting a very low damage attack to do a launcher, just great way to keep things going. Also, you're probably wondering about that weird pink ooze that comes down from the ceilings in some places, and you probably rewrite in your assumption that that will hurt you. Not a massive amount of damage, but it can really catch you off guard. What can also really catch you off guard is super large rooms with next to no enemies. Yeah, a bit of an odd reprieve there after all the difficulty in the previous room, but well, now it's time to make a very, well, what should have been very short journey that ended up taking way longer than it should have. Mostly due to the fact that Almira managed to hop her way down into the next area. While we make our little side trek here, and well, it took her a little bit of finagling to really, I guess, remember where to go and how to get up here. So yeah, that is my explanation as to why this particular part is super sped up, because it shouldn't be this hard to get this collectible, but yeah, it ended up taking three tediously long minutes. But Almira did manage to do a little bit of good. She softened up some of the enemies down here. And it's kind of a toss-up. I'm not really sure what is the best strategy usually to take when fighting enemies in this stage. I mean, if you want to kill them as quickly as possible, there are other options you can use to make sure they don't get possessed, outside of just getting eaten by the worms. You can kill them with the death blow, and that will immediately destroy their bodies. But you also probably want to do as much damage as possible, because things in this level need to die. Especially in this circumstance, where we have 3 closely grouped together rock assholes, and we are running dangerously low on health, which is why I'm making a quick tactical retreat, pick up some health, because Lord only knows this would be a horrible place to have died previously and have to restart the entire level. Because, yeah, even these huge rock assholes can be possessed by the ghosts. But, as they can be possessed by the ghosts, just like normal enemies, they too can run the risk of getting eaten by walrus.
Here we go!
So we got a little bit lucky there that encounter can go south pretty quickly, but the good news is we have made our way safely through this starting purgatory. It's now time for a little cutscene. Rather unexpectedly, we run into our previous foe Golem, who seems like he's going to be joining us as our new temporary Leon. See you next time.